Justice Warriors. Hey, how are you guys? It is Friday, it's September 1st, and I am coming on live to continue the discussion about these crazy things that just seem out of control. Um, so today is Kylie Rodney's birthday. She'd be 18 if she was still alive and well. And I think there's a slim chance that she might be alive. But if she is, she's most likely the furthest thing from well that you can imagine, right? Um, I don't even like to think about it. But let me start by doing my disclaimer. Everything I say is simply my opinion, simply for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and to learn something and to be educational. All my videos are made specifically for YouTube, and that's an entertainment platform. So, my pixie knickers. I haven't sent your thing yet, but I will. I'll get it into the mail today. I promise. So it's just me and you, girlfriend, that we know of. There might be some lurkers, and lurkers are always welcome. Let's see. Um, so yeah, I want to continue the conversation about Maui. As crazy as it needs to be talked about. Like if it's just a bunch of shenanigans and crazy conspiracy theorists, then so what? Then, you know, no biggie, right? Oops. But if people are afraid to speak out about it and people are angry for people speaking out about it and people are threatening people that speak out about it, then we know there's something to it, right? Oh, you get to do it whenever, no rush. I'll be busy painting but listening. Awesome. Yeah, I just, anything that's out of my routine is really hard for me to do because I have so much in my routine. So yeah, that's why I try to just stick to a routine and keep it simple as much as I possibly can. Because I do like to get a lot accomplished. I mean, I like to just veg too, but ain't nobody got time for that. But I sleep well, so that is my vegging time. Sending love and light to all. J. Rana Boomer. Thank God for his divine safety, for justice for Kylie seekers. Yeah. So Maui, Kylie, and still the Idaho Four. The Idaho Four is getting a lot of attention because they keep producing new legal documentation and trying to get things dismissed. I'm sitting on the floor, so I'm going to have to keep moving around so I don't have my legs fall asleep or anything. Um, but there's something that I really want to start out by talking about the Idaho Four is that it's always been my suspicion that when they made the arrest or before they made the arrest, that they were feeling a lot of pressure to pin somebody before the new semester started. I remember Moscow PD saying, everybody's safe, no need to worry. This was a targeted attack. And then a couple of weeks later, they said, well, we don't know. We don't know if it was targeted to the people. That's what they said at first. It was targeted. So that's what it was. Then they were trying to back off. We don't know if it was people targeted. We don't know if the house was targeted. We don't even know if it was targeted. You guys might be in danger, right? Like that was their way of gaslighting. It was targeted. Give me an effing break. It was targeted. But they had to have somebody in custody before the new semester started because it was imperative that people felt safe on campus. It was imperative that people came back to school. So I'm under the impression that what were Chief Fry's words? They pulled a timeline together. They pulled a story together They had to change their story, they had to change the model of the car, they had to change the timing, they had to change a lot of things, and the whole thing was effery and shenanigans, in my humble opinion. But let's see what you guys are saying. Pixie Knickers, hello, chatty chat too. Um, so again, kicking off, so I don't forget to talk about it because this is one of the most important things that I've really been wanting to discuss with you guys with the Maui case. And I want to keep up with you too. Sudi, hello. Good morning, Jazz Mods and chat. September's here and Kylie Rodney's birthday, her 18th birthday. It was targeted for sure. Absolutely. One sec. I believe Brian was told to do this by the link as she didn't want this coming back on her. I'm so confused about she and her. Um, the link. Oh, the link is the she and her. It was targeted for sure. I believe Brian was told to do this by the link as she didn't want this coming back on her. And CM Escobar, what's up? Have you seen the movie The Two Escobars? I highly recommend it. Highly, highly, highly. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked from what I want to say here about Herman and Daya. Forgive me if I'm messing up his name. He was the Maui Emergency Management Agency Administrator. You got that? MEMAA. Mima. Herman Andaya. Herman Andaya, Andaya. We need to remember his name. We need to write it down. We need to shout it from the rooftops. The Maui Emergency Management Agency Administrator. He is the guy who not only didn't sound the alarm, but made that cockamamie claim that he thought sounding the alarm would make people run into the fire. Like, give me a break. Um, let's see. The link could be DM. Uh, I don't know. First one that came to my mind was Emma Bailey, but good translation, Jazz. Translating what Busted Flesh said, or the Maui Emergency Management Agency Administrator. It's such a mouthful that, I mean, personally, I couldn't remember all that, and I couldn't remember his name either. And I was just like, the dude that quit, he needs to be held accountable. He needs to be charged with criminal neglect at the very least, in my humble opinion. I got a lot to say about that. Let's see. I just watched a video on this channel called Blossom Inner Wellness. The lady had an arborist who's been investigating these wildfires for the past 7 years. It was so interesting. Wow, Dana, that's fascinating. Yeah, there's a lot of good information on social media, and this, I believe, is why the corruption is so afraid of social media because people can get the truth out there, um, slowly but surely. Yesterday's show, I shared with Paul, we've been wanting to go to Maui. Maybe this will light a fire. Great show. Oh, Sudi, that's so nice. And I'm really happy to report that um that guy Eric West is right on the same wavelength. Like the last video I watched of his, he was like, everybody book your flights to Maui. Like same thing that I was saying. If you can get there now, great. If you can't get there for a month, then that will work. If you can't get there for 6 months, they're still going to need help way down the road. But the sooner that any of us can get there, the better. Let's see. Does anybody else think that the sheriff in Maui looks like a career criminal? Yeah, absolutely. Um, 100%. And I don't like his attitude. I don't like the look on his face. I don't like anything about him. Busted flush. I try all the time to get my point across in chat, but I'm so wordy that it ends up to be cryptic. That's funny. He needs to be admitted to the jail. Well, and let's give him a fair trial, right? Innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The question needs to be asked who made the call to tell him not to sound the alarm. Dana, that's what I'm talking about. He quit the next day. How do I phrase it as a question? Was he paid off to not sound the alarm? Did he just take the money and hightail it? Because obviously he knows he effed up, right? I mean, you don't quit your job for nothing. But maybe he could afford to quit his job because he just earned $1 million in a minute. Maybe. Um, my opinion, it's a question. So, let's see. I'm so sick of these people getting away with red rum. Exactly. Good morning, you all from Memphis. Hey, Dennis or Denise. Um, years Emma. That's a loaded gun, that girl. That's exactly why they don't like social media because of the truth that it exposes. Right. If it was just a bunch of chatty Cathys running their mouths and wasting their time and everybody else's, what they wouldn't pay attention. They wouldn't even bring it up. They'd just be like, yeah, whatever, whatever. Um, let's see. I thought the guy in charge of the alarm simply didn't press the button. Okay, I'm going to read you guys a thing. Yeah, he chose not to. He chose not to, and then tried to stand by that. A sole official in Maui is tasked with deciding when to pull warning sirens that sound out on Hawaii's second largest island during emergencies. In the case of blazing wildfires that leveled the historic town of Lahaina and left over 100 dead last week. So this was written a couple weeks ago. But still, it's still the count is at 115, you guys. Like, if that's not the most cockamamie thing you've ever heard, I don't know what is. That official chose not to sound the alarms, a decision he is now defending. I do not regret not sounding the sirens, Maui Emergency Management Agency Administrator Herman and Daya told CBS News at a news conference Wednesday. Um, so he does not regret it. All of these people died. The ones that didn't die, many had harrowing experiences, and he has no regrets. That thing he said about he was afraid if he sounded the alarm that people would think it was a tsunami and run up the hill to the higher ground straight into the fire. If he actually thought that, I said this yesterday, but I want to get my point across. If he actually thought that, he should be completely embarrassed to say it out loud. I honestly can't imagine that he really thought that. My guess is that that cockamamie story was way better than the truth he was trying to cover up, and there was nothing logical he could come up with as a cover story. So he just talked out of his rear end and then said, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter anyway, I quit." Like, you've got to be kidding. Um, you can't walk away from that. And anybody who allows him to walk away from that is also criminal. 100%. Um, let's see. I thought that the guy in charge of the alarm simply didn't press the button. That's the one I just had highlighted. And good morning, Mrs. Amir. Government of Hawaii is pretty shady. Yeah, well, they all are. It really looks like a coordinated effort, something orchestrated, something choreographed. There were far too many things that aligned for this to happen. Far too many things. I mean, just the whole thing with the blue stuff not burning, that by itself is evidence of the direct energy weapons, you guys. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's higher ups making the calls. There always is, right? And then, they say the shite rolls downhill. So those are the heads that roll. Maybe just stupid and embarrassed. Well, I don't think so. I mean, that would be best case scenario. But he doesn't seem to have any shame. He doesn't seem to have any shame. He's saying that he has no regrets. He could come back and say, "Oh man, did I make a bad decision?" And look, it says right here on our website that those sirens are not just for tsunamis, that they're for any type of an emergency, any type. It says fires included. Um, let's see. They prefer people posting pictures of food and talking about each other on social media rather than the truth. Yeah, I call that food porn, don't you? I'm not into it, but I can understand why people are. I think it's funny. Let's see. Who is all of this donated money going to if the people of Lahaina were incinerated? Um, and I said it wrong. Lahaina. So, there are many people that were not incinerated, and um, that channel that I keep talking about, Hawaii Real Estate, he's raised almost $1 million that he's putting directly into the hands of some of the people that survived. And he's being 100% transparent about it. He's making sure that all of his I's are dotted and T's are crossed because, that's just how you do it. um, but it sounds like Oprah is now giving everybody $1,200, which on the surface sounds really sweet, since the president only gave each household 700. So I don't know the details with Oprah, if it's 1,200 per household or 1,200 per individual. But I'm gonna say something really bad in a second. Let me drink some water and prepare. Um, Such a tragedy that possibly could have been avoided. Well, the blocking off of the roads. I mean, come on. The police blocking off the roads going both ways, literally corralling people into the peak burn zone. Like the downtown area was the peak burn zone, and they blocked off the roads on both sides. So that would come down on the police chief. That was the police chief giving those orders to block off the roads on both sides so people couldn't get out. And then the people that survived were the ones that broke through the barricades or the ones that went out to the ocean. Um, so let's see. Lurking, be good for everyone. Watch your health. Lurking, be good, everyone. Watch your health. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm so sorry that you're under the weather. It's so important to stay healthy. I did my salad for breakfast this morning, you guys, because I'm getting ready for that yoga instruction, and so I'm kind of doing my Rocky thing. But again, I forgot I'm supposed to eat salad for breakfast. It makes me feel great. It really does. And then I forget and I don't do it for a long time if I don't do it every day and remember salad for breakfast. Um, so let's see. I will say the thing that I was gonna say that I said, "Let me prepare because it's really bad." It's really bad. If it's, incorrect, then it shouldn't be a big deal. Then I'm just a whack job, right? Um, this insanely rich and famous person stepping forward and handing people $1,200 reminds me of Sammy Smith spearheading the search party and the investigating for Kylie Rodney. Like, I saw a parallel there right away. Apparently, she's been grabbing up the land from Jump. That whole thing with the pillows, I don't know if it's true or not, but it's just kind of weird that here she is, one of the most wealthy people in the history of planet Earth. And she's like, oh, these people need pillows. I'm going to go to Walmart and Costco and buy all their pillows and distribute them. Like, that's a nice idea, but did she really walk into Walmart and Costco and buy all these pillows? I mean, I would think that she had all of her minions do that for her. And if she's going to buy them pillows and give them money, why not do more? I mean, not to sound ungrateful, but I'm pretty sure she's like a gazillionaire, you guys. Like billionaire multiple times over, like trillionaire. So, she came out yesterday as one of the heroes with The Rock saying, come on, everybody, let's get behind Maui. Why did it take 3 weeks? Why in the world would that take 3 weeks? We're 3 weeks out. Um, that just doesn't add up to me. Let's see. I'm gonna Dana. I lived in Guam in the 80s, really small island, so you get to rub elbows with the bigwigs, at least back then. I was in my 20s. I couldn't just be naive, but I thought dumb creeps. Yeah. Good morning, salty sunset, salty sage, and Los Angeles. Hey, Dan. Thanks for listening. Thanks for saying hi. I too think corruption, but I also think the higher ups get people that aren't critical thinkers to do jobs over their head so they make the right mistakes. I absolutely think that they hire people that are stupid and that are corrupt and that are corruptible. I mean, that police chief coming from Vegas with that whole shooting incident that was like the worst cluster possible with law enforcement, and he was in charge, and then Hawaii hires him, and then they give him a huge 30% raise as soon as he's hired, and then he's got at least 7 um, formal complaints on file that are known of, at least 7 in less than 2 years. That's a lot of formal complaints against a police chief, you guys. That is a lot. And apparently, when he started the job on December 15th, almost 2 years ago, and he was making a lot more money than he was making in Vegas. Granted, Maui is a very expensive place to live, but he immediately demanded a 30% pay raise, and they gave it to him. Within 30 days, his first month, he got a 30% pay raise and was making over $200,000 starting out a year. So if people are corrupt and getting paid off, they usually will be getting paid to the tune of about 3 or 4 times their annual salary per year by the people that are paying them off. So that's just something to keep in mind. Biden pledged like $85 million more as of yesterday to help Maui recover. Yeah, and that's fantastic. And that's still million, not billion, with, you know, I mean, these numbers are so skewed these days. Like 85 million used to be a whole lot of money. The storms in Florida have racked up like over $50 billion. I think it's billions. I know it's billions. I think it's 50 billion, but in damages. So we can't think in millions anymore when it comes to situations like this, and the president should know that. I mean, Maui is the most expensive of all of those Hawaiian Islands, and all of those Hawaiian Islands are very expensive. So, you know, I mean, it's like a drop in the bucket, probably. Like I I mean, I can't comprehend million and billion. I mean, I'm nowhere near that kind of mindset, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Our numbers have just gotten so skewed. And then, especially since COVID, I mean, the prices of pretty much everything has probably nearly doubled since COVID. Everything like food, clothes, um, you name it. It's just nuts. Let's see. On the video I watched, the guy pointed out that usually the trash bins are left unburnt and they try to corral all the trash bins and get rid of them before anybody can see. Always some left behind. Wow. Yeah. There's so many videos that are so telling. You know, a point that somebody brought up yesterday in one of the new videos that I watched was that all of the doors on the cars that were incinerated, every single door was closed. Every single door was closed. That's pretty weird. You would think with fire coming that people would be jumping out of their car doors, and some might have left them open and forgotten to close them. I mean, to me, that says that those people probably completely incinerated inside of the car. I mean, it's not like somebody would have come by and shut the doors after the fact. For what reason? I mean, they probably wouldn't even shut with all the damage that's done. Shutting it would probably crumble. I mean, the metal is just melted. The glass melted, you guys. Um, All those doors being shut, that was on one of the Hawaii, real estate videos, and that guy's been pumping them out, and I am so grateful that he has been because he's right there and he has a lot to say, and like I was saying yesterday, he has a lot of clout being an upper middle class white real estate agent. He can get this message across to the mainland pretty well. And it almost reminds me of like Horton Hears a Who. Like he's just trying to send a message out like we need help from this little tiny island. I mean, it is the second largest of the Hawaiian Islands, but in this vast ocean, thousands of miles away, and they need a lot of help. And, it's great for people to step up like The Rock and Oprah and do what they can. And if there's nothing sinister going on there with the ladder, then, you know, then I would apologize for asking the question. But like I said yesterday, with that apartment fire that burned in Johannesburg the day before yesterday, and about 80 very, very poor, poverty-stricken homeless people were burned in that unfortunate tragedy. And that just happens to be 44 minutes from where that same person has that all-girls leadership academy. 44 minutes is not very far. I mean, I've never been to South Africa, but I'm gonna bet you it's pretty spread out and that there's not a lot in between. Um, and I know Johannesburg is the wealthiest city in all of the African countries, as far as I know, anyway. Um, but what are the odds? Like, what a weird coincidence. What a weird coincidence. And honestly, I've been a huge fan of hers for my entire life, like since she started with her little talk show back in the early 80s. I loved her. Um, I hope that it's just a bunch of crazy talk. I sure hope. Um, let's see. Temporary housing while they rebuild would be nice, Oprah. Right. And that's a huge issue that's coming up right now because a lot of these people that were displaced got 30 days of temporary housing and they're coming up on 30 days already. So, um, the newest Oprah and Rock video is so cringeworthy. I don't think I watched it, Dana. Maybe I need to. I think we need to follow that man to his next job so people can prepare better. You mean the Maui Emergency Management Agency ex-administrator? That guy, Herman Andaya? I think he needs to be followed and he needs to be arrested for criminal negligence and possible involvement in all these fatalities. I mean, it was his job to sound the alarm, and he chose not to, and he stands by his decision. That's awful. That's freaking awful. And it doesn't make sense. A normal person that made a silly decision like that might say, "Wow, I wish I could redo that. Look at what happened. That was silly. I forgot that it was also for fires. I thought it was only for tsunamis." They have the best state of the art alarm system on the planet because they have tsunamis, and tsunamis are freaking crazy. Absolutely insane. Um, Salty Sage, are you retracting your own comments or is that like accidental? Dana says microwaves. Yeah, the direct energy weapons. Things are burning from the inside out. In his YouTube Hawaii real estate. Yes, yes, that's the one. Hawaii real estate. I had just watched this guy. Yeah, his name is Eric West, and he's extremely energetic. He has kids. He's lived on the islands for a few years. He used to live in Aspen, and he is just extremely enthusiastic in trying to do what he can to help. So he's absolutely committed, and it's fantastic. I just realized just as A to Z acronym Jess. That's funny. Both of my uncles were who both were Popo in Hawaii have passed away from cancer. Seems like a beautiful but desolate place. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a really, really good place to vacation, which is why so many of us vacation there. But it would be a very hard place to live for sure. I mean, if you need medical care, you just get bored driving around the same island. You can drive from one end of the big island to the other end in probably less than 3 hours. You can do a loop of the entire big island, maybe 5 hours. Um, I mean, these islands are small. They're very small, and it's just hard. It's kind of like Groundhog Day. You're just running in circles. You're just, the same old, same old. And a lot of people from the mainland think that they want to live there and they move there. And then typically they can't afford to move back to the mainland because it's so expensive. Um, Getting off island is so expensive. The plane tickets are always a lot cheaper for vacationers going to and from. For people going off the island, they price gouge for sure. Um, so yeah, there's a lot to be said about the pros and cons of living in a place like that. Microwave is a perfect word to describe it. 3 hours from Johannesburg. It's so tragic. Oh, Miss Amir, I'm so sorry. Wow, that's right. I knew you were in South Africa. I didn't know where. And Dana says no, talking about the sheriff. Um, Oh, follow that man to his next job so people can prepare better. Yeah. Um, he should probably be investigated. I say probably, that's putting it mildly and kindly. My opinion is that he should definitely be investigated. I mean, to order the police officers to not allow people to escape, that is called corralling. Corralling is what perpetrators do to their victims. They corral them to trap them. It's a police term, corralling. And all of those people were corralled into the center of town. Um, let's see. I'm a Gemini Cancer. We change our minds with our three different opinions. There's nothing wrong with changing your mind, and nothing wrong with having differing opinions, in the same sentence, even in my opinion. Try going to Guam 30 by 8 miles. Wow. I almost took a job on Sitka, the island of Sitka up in Alaska. And that was the reason why I didn't was I was there for 4 days. I accepted the job contingency with visiting and meeting everybody and seeing everything. And everything went really well, but on the airplane ride back to Seattle, I was just like, I think 4 days is a nice time to spend in Sitka, and no, nothing against Sitka. It's a beautiful, beautiful, island, but it's an island, and there's not another community around you for 800 miles, and anything that is within 800 miles is considered close, and I just couldn't do it. I felt so bad. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made in my life, disappointing these people that had paid for my trip, and I enjoyed meeting, and I would have loved to have worked with them if it wasn't so isolated. If it had more accessibility, I would have taken the job for sure. It was a really good job. Um, Hi, Justice. My question is, was any of the billionaires on island when the fire happened? What a really good question. Well, and even if they were on the other side of the island. And remember, Maui is kind of shaped like an eight or like an infinity symbol, so it's very long. And if you're at the other end of the island, you're very far away. I mean, it's longer than the Big Island. It's just a lot less square acres and miles. Um, Alistair Grant, those are great, great questions that I wanted to know too. Like trouble follows that guy. Well, I mean, is it just bad luck? I always say bad luck is the product, or good luck is the product of good planning. So bad luck could be the product of something else. Absolutely. Gotta go clean bathrooms at BMX. So we'll have to catch the rest on replay. Love and light. Thanks for coming and saying hello and goodbye. Good luck cleaning bathrooms. That's always good to do. We probably all need to clean our bathrooms, right? Sometimes I read what I've tried and realize it could be worded better or it could be misinterpreted or it's just not necessary. So I delete apologies. That's not a problem at all. Thanks for explaining. Yeah, I totally understand. Typed, not tried. Gotcha. Okay, I'm going to reread it. Sometimes I read what I've typed and realize it could be worded better or it could be misinterpreted or it's just not necessary. So I delete. Apologies. Totally understandable. Thank you for explaining. And Kimberly says, "Hey, Justice, I have a question. Do you think the Maui fire could have been started with fireworks? Guts of fireworks. I'm seeing lots of different groups stockpiling fireworks. It makes me think. There's a lot of stories of loud banging noises, and I don't necessarily have an opinion about the loud banging noises because I know when there's something like a giant fire, you're going to get all kinds of crazy noises. But popping noises like pop, 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 pop. And then there were lots of stories of the fireballs. You guys have probably heard people talking about fireballs the size of baseballs being thrown or seemingly thrown, flying through the air. And if one of those hit you, you were gone. And there's people that survived that were in the path of those fireballs. So that's wild. And I can't imagine that that's a natural occurrence. Like, I just can't. Perhaps I'm incorrect, but I cannot imagine that those are natural. So that could be something like what you're talking about, maybe? I don't know. Um, let's see, shaped like an 8 and got torched on 8/8. Oh man, good point. You sage, you. Wow. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. I don't think fireworks can cause the fire to reach 2,500 or 3,000 degrees in temperature. Wildfires reach about 1,400. Right. That's what I've been hearing as far as the science of it, is that the temperatures were off the charts, way above and beyond what is possible with a wildfire. I mean, can you imagine how freaking hot and how horrible for, especially obviously for the people who were burned alive, but also for the people that escaped, like how scorching hot that was? I've heard firefighters talking about how hot it was, even, of course, even with their protective gear. The glass is melted in those cars, which can happen, but not until the temps reach at least 2,500 degrees. Exactly. Exactly. Laser beams. Well, the GOP Nick, the direct energy weapons are a lot like laser beams, to my understanding. Noises, right, could be transformers too. I'm trying to think of all options. Right, but the power was turned off. So would they still do that? Laser beams don't work on blue. Right, and apparently the direct energy weapons don't either. Is that accurate? Or am I incorrect there? Um, and the tarps, right. I thought, isn't that interesting that tarps are royal blue? I mean, you can get some that are other colors, but typically they're royal blue. Um, eh, again, coincidence? Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. The number 8 is about money. Well, H is the eight H is the eighth. It's like a tongue twister, sorry. H is the eighth letter in the alphabet. And so double eight is typically like a white supremacist thing like Hitler. Um, let's see. Trying to think of all the plausible scenarios. The lasers are plausible. I'm wondering how feasible for Pawpaw to build with a little soldier in his shed with the grandkids. I'm a little confused by that, Kimberly. Oh Lord, I saw you were alive. I was happy to click the link. Watch, you're so funny. Unless that's like talk to text alive. I was like, are you threatening me? Yes, I'm alive. Okay. Kelly, I love you. Oh Lord, I saw you were live and happy to click the link, and all I hear is people getting burned alive. What is going on, my friend? The Maui fires, girl. I've been so caught up in the Maui fires for the last week or more. I mean, it's just kind of taken over my all that I think about with my YouTube channel. I'm still on the Kylie Rodney case. I'm definitely still on the Moscow case, and I'm all about this Maui crap. It's really hard to think that anybody could do something like that intentional to strangers. But unfortunately, we all know that there's a lot of evil in the world. So, if it's just a natural occurrence, then that is a lot less horrible. Still, Maui is going to need all the help in the world and then some, even if it was just a bunch of stupid idiots that were off island and not doing their jobs and all that. The color blue is a holy spiritual color. Well, I know not royal blue, but cobalt blue is supposed to be like the top chakra. Kelly would know about chakras because she knows all about yoga. So, and I'm doing my yoga right now, Kelly. I'm on my yoga mat. I'm getting ready for a training coming up, a big time training. I've been thinking about you. Let's see. Cryptography. The frequency of blues is 666. What you talking about, Pixie Knickers? I've never heard this. That there's just a lot of wild stuff, isn't there? Um, and the palm trees are extremely flammable. Those palm trees had dead husks on them and they weren't burned. And yeah, that makes no sense. I was unaware of colors, hues having their own frequencies. Interesting. Yeah, me too. 100%. Um, Thank you so much for being here, everybody, and especially my mod, Kelly. It's so nice to see you. I would imagine you're at work, but maybe you had the day off. Maybe your school system made the 3-day weekend a 4-day weekend. And of course, you know it's Kylie's birthday today, September 1st. So yeah, let's get into the Kylie Rodney case. I always want to be talking about Kylie, and when I get talking about one topic, it's hard to get off that topic and get into another one. So let's segue into Kylie Rodney. But first, let me catch up with you guys. Lots of these groups are just people in the neighborhood, pawpaw, mom, dad, the kids. You think they were normal until you hear their opinion. So I'm wondering if someone like that could. Yeah, yeah, that's wild. I meant like was totally talk to text. That's funny. Because yeah, sometimes people type things in the chat that seem like a thinly veiled threat, and it's just like, I don't need that. But yeah, I wouldn't think you were doing that. It's just I didn't see who it was, and I saw that you were alive, and I'm like, yeah, of course I'm alive. Is that a threat? Like, why would anyone want to take me out? I am such a nice person. But honestly, somebody who's corrupt would love to have me shut the F up, and I'm not going to. So as long as there's corruption that I see, I'm going to talk about it. Um, Justice for Kylie Rodney. Build a home made laser thing in their shed. Wow. Very fascinating, Kimberly. Alive and live are both good things. Yes, Rando, absolutely. Um, Stay alive for me, right? That's what Jagger's tattoo that he gave himself said. Hello, what's the obsession? What's the obsession? Are you doing voice to text too, GOP Nick? Oh my God, that's horrible beyond words. I don't even have the words. I know. I know. It's insane. It's such an absolutely beautiful place. Have you been there, Kelly? Paradise. It's hard to imagine. Hell and paradise. Exactly. That was the first thing I said. Heaven and hell. Exactly. And we can all go visit paradise and help the situation. And I think we all should think about it if possible. And if not possible, just pray for these people. Do what you can, whatever it is, but raising awareness and continuing to talk about it because typically what happens is things get forgotten about. And, I mean, we've been trying hard to not forget about Kylie. Watts, the Obsession, has been doing an excellent job keeping that case alive. Um, and it's really important to keep these things in the public arena, in my opinion, until justice is solid. And like with that Watts case, man, that justice is not even close to solid, in my humble opinion. Um, and yeah, it's such a beautiful place. I have not been to that island, but I've been to two of the other islands. It's freaking outrageously gorgeous. It's like beyond all the hype, in my opinion. Um, you know, so many things are hyped up, but Hawaii is just magical. It's absolutely magical. Um, it comes from azurite, lapis lazuli, special seashells, Scottish bottle blue, Grecian blue. And the other day I was talking about cerulean blue. Remember? I think that wasn't on my show. I think that was in one of Shanda's lives. The cerulean blue from that X Files. And was that alluding to this royal blue thing? I mean, I'd never heard of cerulean blue until that. I think that's the most famous X Files episode that there is. Um, and the whole thing with that story was that the cerulean blue made things invisible. So it sounds like it kind of could relate. Um, Screenshot to my email. Okay, a screenshot of what, Pixie Knickers? Um, Happy birthday, Kylie Rodney. Yes, yes, yes. I do not understand why the individual police officers use common sense. Right. Well, I mean, I know a police officer very well. I don't really talk about it on my channel. I just mention it sometimes on other people's channels. But yeah, I have a police officer in my family, in my immediate family, and they do what they're told. I mean, if a police officer is told to do something illegal, it's their civic duty and legal responsibility to not do it. But that's a very fine line because that's also insubordination. So police officers are required to do what they're told as long as they're not breaking the law. And corralling people is not breaking the law, especially if they didn't know the bigger picture, you know? Let's see. Where'd we go? Where are we? I have 3 weeks off. I start back up on Tuesday. Oh, why'd you get 3 weeks off? That's nice. That's wonderful. Um, Very cool. I know I haven't seen you in so long. I want to be on some of your panels again, like I was way back in the day. Prussian blue sunset. Whatever work doesn't stop me from trying to catch some of your live when I can. I know. I mean, I work more than 40 hours a week and I am just all about my YouTube, my own channel and everybody else's channel too that I can keep up with. Um, Kylie, happy birthday, Miss Kylie Rodney. I wonder if Jag's tattoo is real. Well, it certainly looked real, the way they look when you first do them. And he took a photograph of it, and it was very raw and raised, and just the way they look when they're brand new. And he did that to himself. Oh, maybe a henna tattoo. It looked like he'd done the actual tattoo, in my opinion. Speaking of Kylie Case, we survived the blue moon. Yes. Well, the blue supermoon was amazing, absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, I wasn't thinking straight, and I went out to look at it at the fullest moment, which was 9:35 the night before last, and it had already risen, so it was still really big and really spectacular, but it would have been even bigger when it first came up from the horizon. So as soon as I got out there and saw it, I was like, "Oh, I should have come out here right when the moon came up." I wasn't thinking straight, but it was gorgeous. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal. Um, so blue light has shorter waves with wavelengths between about 450, 495 nanometers. Dana, where are you getting all this? Are you like some kind of crazy mad scientist? Red light has longer waves with wavelengths around 620 to 750 nanometers. That's awesome. Let me highlight that one. Nanometers. What are we? Mork from Orc? Nano, nano. Um, let's see. Happy birthday, beautiful Kylie, as part of our family. And you guys, I have a mod who is reproducing those Kylie Christmas tree ornaments. So hopefully we'll get those in time for you guys if you want to purchase them at a rate that isn't for profit. It's just to cover the costs of producing and shipping. Blue light has a higher frequency and carries more energy than red light. Interesting. You are a beautiful, nice person, love. Oh, you're so nice. Having all the positive energy is so awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. You guys are all super amazing. And it's just something that I really want to focus on staying positive when we are reviewing such extreme darkness, often, like in that Watts case, such extreme darkness. Yes, you've been there. You've been to Maui. Oh, see, I had a friend who lived there for 20 years. So that's how I know about the encampments in what they call the country right outside of Lahaina. Lahaina. Oh my goodness, I'm so funny. So funny. Let's see. Let's see where we go. So, yes, you've been there, you lucky dog, you. I mean, all the islands are magnificent, but yeah, pictures that you see of Maui, I think there's a reason that it's the most expensive. I think it's the most exotic, maybe. Chair radiation, Chernova, is that how you say that? Like the Chernova. Um, remember that canyon name, Cerulean? Is it a canyon? Oh, crayon name, cerulean. Right, that's how you spell it. I know, I've looked it up. Cerulean blue. That's the X-Files episode. You guys all remember that X-Files episode, right? Time to rewatch all the older X-Files. David Duchovny is a hottie. I know, and then he like totally dogged his wife. He had a complete meltdown. But yeah, Duchovny and Scully, they had such a great chemistry between the two of them. Definitely. Just thought of that. Blue Flash. We need to be the voice for the victims until justice is settled for the victims and a greater peace is found for their family, always. Um, let's see, Chernova. I know that I think that's how you say it. I mean, it doesn't sound the way it looks, but I think it's Chernova, right? Chernova radiation is a blue flash light that is seen at the point of what's the dang word? Point of the ignition. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Blue 666 frequency. It was in a video that I seen on Instagram. That's fascinating. Thanks for being on the Justice Peace team. Yes, thanks everybody. Thanks for being here. Please share, subscribe, ring your notification bell. If you are subscribed, please check to make sure that you haven't been unsubscribed. That's been happening lately. And also, please hit that like button right there. Um, Let's see. Do you like my Statue of Liberty right there and my cool tree over here with the water and the rocks? Um, always me and my home decor, right? It's another one of my obsessions that I just can't contain. I'm like, keep it simple, right? Um, less is more. So let's see. Chain of command also has to be followed. Exactly. Sunset Salty. So yeah, so who was in charge? Who was really in charge of um, the Hawaiian emergency? Let's see, Maui Emergency Management Agency Administration. So it's one person who holds the one job of being the administrator, but obviously there's going to be other people in that administration. And obviously that person has somebody that they answer to. So they're the person charged with the responsibility, but they answer to somebody. So it's crazy, isn't it? Um, Kauai is my favorite. I've heard amazing things about Kauai too, and especially for people that like to hike. I really like to hike. Um, and that's supposed to be the best hiking island. Although, Oahu and the Big Island, amazing hiking. On the Big Island, I looked it up because I wasn't sure if that volcano was still erupting. and it erupted, I think, for 34 years straight, and then it took like a month off, and then it's been intermittent, I think, for the last couple of years. 34 years straight, if I'm remembering right. It might have been 30 something else. But I just looked it up a couple days ago. Yeah, that volcano, and yeah, all the hiking around the volcano is amazing. And then like on the Big Island, you have the black sand beach and you have the green sand beach, you guys. And then on Maui, you've got the red sand beach. I mean, these sands are incredible. The black sand is incredible. The green sand is like peridot, and the red sand, I've only seen pictures of it. Have you seen that red sand in person, Kelly? Because I know seeing the black sand and the green sand in person is just magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Um, let's see. Prussian blue. It's the evil in a couple true crime cases. Yeah. What? I feel like if I ever visited Hawaii, I wouldn't leave. Well, that's what I thought. But like I said, it's when you're from the mainland, especially, it's the perfect place to vacation, but living there would be so challenging in so many ways. But yeah, I totally thought that both times I went there, I thought, oh, I'm never going to leave. And then, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go home now. The frequency is 666. The wavelengths are the other numbers. Shoosh. If you see the blue flash of Chernova radiation, you automatically have over the lifetime dose. You have a fatal radiation dose. You saw the flash at the point of ignition. Oh my goodness. So that's like the Chernova, right? Because isn't that how you pronounce that freaky word? Um, don't give away the secrets. The red sand, well, you can Google it. You can Google the red sand, the green sand, the black sand, and yeah, you're not supposed to steal any of the sand, of course, but people do. But we don't talk about it, right? Prussian blue, cyanide, cyan, printer ink. What? Wow. We learned so much, you guys. Isn't it fun learning? Yes, you got it. Google, as I like to say. The pics I take of the moon never come out as magnificent as they've seen in person. It's so disappointing. I know, but cell phones do a pretty good job for just being, cameras that we have on our persons at all times. But funny enough, when I ran out of my house to go look at the moon right before I went to bed, I didn't take my cell phone. So as soon as I got in the car, I'm like, don't. But I had to get to sleep and I didn't want to miss it at the same time. I did design for 15 plus years. I love cyan. Cayenne? Cyan. You're welcome to come and panel anytime. It would be my honor. Yay. Definitely. I know. See, my problem is my sleep schedule because I try to go to bed so early. And then if I'm awake, it's okay for me to be in the chat, but if I get on panel, then I'm like wide awake. Or hopefully I wouldn't want to fall asleep on someone's panel. It's like one of my biggest fears because I do like to do it, but then, I get tired and then I'm like, okay, need to hop off. That's awesome. I wonder how she makes those ornaments. Which ornaments? Nano Rando, Robin Williams, all work from work. Also, the hexavalent greens, very toxic. Never even heard of the hexavalent greens. So, is this like a light that if you see it, it's toxic? Chromium mixed into the paints, not the hiney. I know the lahaina, not hiney. What do you think about the new blue freeway lights they're using to replace the old white yellow lights? I don't know. I haven't even really heard about it. MF puppies. Cerulean, yes. Cerulean blue. Cerulean blue. Um, And the information is in her Earth Science reference booklet. I co-taught the class for 3 years. Nice. Jazz is crafty. I have a lot of hobbies, Miss Lindsay. I don't need a hobby. My favorite comeback to that was somebody who said, "May I suggest a hobby for you? Like, how about the hobby of finding justice for your daughter?" I mean, it was just so offensive and so shocking that anybody would be um, throwing darts at YouTubers when they're supposed to be celebrating the life of their child and mourning the loss of their kid, you guys. Like, who's got time to go make scathing remarks to YouTubers that they don't even know? I mean, that spoke volumes to me. That was when I thought, there's something extremely off about this woman other than just the way she talks with the end of the word, like having that uppity thing. That was weird too. MF puppies. I live in Arizona and they're using those lights. I don't get why those bulbs are more expensive. What is your thoughts on potential Los Angeles and Indiana connection in Kylie case? What? Have you seen any comings and goings? Anyone with Los Angeles or Indiana connections with Kylie? I have no clue what you're referring to, Kimberly. Please, please do share. Please elaborate. Let's see. Annie Ruler, hello and welcome, my friend. Love your channel, and the lighting is great today. I've been working really hard on the lighting. The lighting is the hardest part. It's a little bit too much, but I know I get complaints that I'm in the dark, and especially don't like being in the dark because it seems to make it buffer, right? So we don't want that. I don't mind being in the dark, but I know that the viewers are like more light, and it's just so easy to then have too much light. Let's see. And yeah, I'm glad the lighting is great. Part of that is because it's overcast. If it's like sun shining, clear skies outside, it's even harder, no matter how much blocking out of all the natural light I do. Um, Let's see. I ask because of the comment on its frequency. Does it have something to do with how they will affect us? I myself do not like how it made me feel. You can get physical effects like burns from different frequencies, etc. Wow. See, this is like way beyond my level of expertise. Even radio frequency burns. Wow. I haven't seen red sand. I've spent the most time on Kauai. I was on Maui 4 days on a Kauai trip. Kauai is the most exotic, in my opinion. Yeah, the cliffs and everything. That's why I love it. Has the land of Honolulu, Puff the Magic Dragon, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers song. Um, my favorite place to be is not a land called Honolulu, mentally or physically. I'd rather be in New Orleans. You guys know that song, right? I just had to sing it. I'm sorry. What lights are these? We can do an earlier live for you. Oh, you're so sweet. And you got to do what you got to do. When it works, it works. I mean, I know that you are more of a night owl. You probably don't require as much sleep as me because I know you have to get up early too. If I'm tired, I just cannot function and I get really depressed too. And then I'm like, oh, I just need a nap or a good night's sleep. Um, I don't do well. I need my sleeps. I've got a spider as big as my face in the bathtub, so I cleaned my teeth in the kitchen. Oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me, GOP Nick. Creepy AF. I don't mind spiders, it's snakes that freak me out. But a spider as big as my face, I would mind that for sure. Good choice. I have too much in my brain, Justice. I could give you a full download of printer ink stoners and chemicals. Are you a chemical engineer, Kimberly, or what's your profession? Or is this just a hobby, just a weird hobby? Um, mm, let's see. Decided to move. The spider can reside while I hide. Annie Ruler, the new freeway lights. You can Google it and see what I am saying. Well, right away I thought that the blue lights make it harder for junkies to see their veins. So I'm sorry to use that word, junkies. People that are addicted to intravenous drug use. Um, so I know some cities have blue lights in like tunnels and overpasses so that it's not used for that purpose. So I don't know about those situations there. I agree, but everyone grieves differently, and we probably don't have the full story. And maybe you're talking about the Kylie Rodney's mother. I mean, I tried to give her all of that leeway, but no, something super, super suspicious about her. Not something, some things. Um, it's none of it is right, in my opinion. Um, I have major suspicions about that whole situation. I agree, but everyone grieves differently. Yes. And it is really important to I never want to blame the victim. And if I'm completely wrong, then I apologize profusely, but the evidence seems that there's a lot of no good going on with that. OMG, if you don't kill it, you will not know where it is. Ew, but killing it, that sounds scary. Even something that big. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to capture and release it. I guess I would probably just get a big old book and kill it, or a big old boot or something. Or maybe like spraying it with some aerosol, like some bug spray or something like that, hairspray. Um, yeah, I'm seeing in Idaho, or maybe like a torch, you could torch it. I'm seeing in Idaho comings and goings of people from Los Angeles and Indianapolis. I saw that some people in Kylie case have Truckee connections. Do they go further south or to Indiana way? I'm so curious what you're getting at, Kimberly. I um, am not aware of all this. I'm going to reread. I'm seeing in Idaho comings and goings from Los Angeles and Indianapolis. I saw that some people in the Kylie case have Truckee connections. Do they go further south or Indiana way? Yeah, I mean, the whole trafficking, the substances, the chemicals, as well as the human. Um, Annie, it's squatting. I'm terrified of them. I can't kill them, just avoid. There is even one in a web on my wheelie bin. I opened it screaming and dropped my rubbish everywhere, and people just looked. Love Red Hot Chili Peppers. I was singing with you. Not a land called Honolulu. Okay. Think about how the blue computer screens affect us. My skin cancer doctor says we need sunscreen for computer screen blah, 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 UV rays as well. I've never heard that, but yeah, my glasses have like the blue screen thing. Very interesting, super interesting. Um, Dana, they have spider squish. I'm having PTSD, hot flush thinking about it. Um, oh, would a pet lizard eat the spider? That themed print on receipts are toxic too. Yeah, the thermal print on receipts. I know, and then we all touch those all the time. It's terrible, isn't it? I'm trying to wish it away. Yeah, pray, pray really hard to the spider gods. I did graphic design and product development for 15 years. I had to learn a lot about photochemicals, toners, inks, all types of different chemicals in the process at the company. I'm also an alchemy fan. Very cool. That's awesome, Kimberly. Thanks for sharing all that. I'm gonna highlight your explanation there and keep trying to get caught up with you guys. GOP Nick, I share the fear. I was bit by a brown recluse 5 or 6 years ago, and the phobia is full blown. Maybe someone can hit your face spider with a blue laser. That's the best. Maybe Kylie's crazy mom will do it. Oh my goodness. Sorry, just closing the loop on the great conversation. No, don't apologize. That's perfect. Thank you. I agree, just trying to be fair, but LR gives me major red flags also. I know, and I tried really hard to just like I said, give her a lot of leeway and not focus on that and just be like, yeah, everybody grieves differently. There's no wrong way to grieve, but sometimes again, looking at the interviews with her in hindsight, you see a lot more, don't you? In reviewing them now, a year later. Riley's mom should be sent to kill it or take it home with her. She needs a hobby or so. Here, Kelly, you're cracking me up. You are too funny. But man, I can't believe you were bitten by a recluse. You must have gotten really sick. You must have needed medical attention because aren't those the ones that can kill you? Um, let's see. GOP Nick, you gotta coax it out of your home unless there's a food source there it is interested in. It should cooperate unless it has a nest. Oh my God, get a lizard. Yeah, an iguana. Those are cool. Oh my God, that's terrifying. I just had one crawl on me the other day. I was screaming the house down while trying to get it off me, jumping up and down, hitting myself. Hairspray, yes, that'll work. I just threw that out there, just thinking of whatever aerosol you have on hand. Um, said computer screens age our skin. Wow, really good to know. Um, I got a lush green garden and it's spider season now, and they love to scare me. You're in the UK, aren't you, GOP Nick? Because yeah, it's so lush over there. And right now in the mainland of America, it's fall, so things are getting unlush. I completely relate. No shame. They are scary and can be evil. These lights are in open rural highways in my area. Yes, I know about their use in the inner city where IV use is prevalent, like public bathrooms. Kimberly, like the Truman smuggling route. Huh. I've never heard of the Truman smuggling route. Am I just ignorant or what? Annie Ruler, if you can educate me. Watts, at least we don't have biting ones here, but if these wolf spiders look nasty straight from hell, yeah. When you read my comment about Idaho, LA, and Indiana and mentioned trafficking, that's exactly what I'm seeing, I think. Big stacks of cash. In the photo I saw, it was a photo collage. Interesting. Of course, there is Project Blue Beam. I remember we both tried way hard to have an attitude of compassion and grace with LR, but she triggers my alarms and that's just how it is. Yeah, she like way beyond triggers my alarms. I mean, creepy AF, just the whole thing making out with Sammy. And Kelly, the last couple of videos I've talked about looking at Mark Molina's 30-minute, 35-minute video from 5 months ago, where he slows down in super slow motion the interactions of that makeout session that she had with Sammy on in front of everybody at one of the community events. And it looks to me like she might be like holding her by the neck and threatening her. Like she first is obviously kissing her on the cheek for way too long. But in the slowdown, I kind of had a different possible interpretation of it. So I just had the best visual of LR shooting spiders with blue lasers from her eyes. That's fun. I'm sure she would just love to see this video, wouldn't she? I hope nobody sends it to her, or maybe that's fine if they do, because, sometimes it's good to see your reflection, even if you don't want to. Maybe our government is being passive aggressive, saying okay to do rugs, but selecting where they are guiding them to. They want them in our neighborhoods. Yes, I think so, Annie. One of them, MS-13, pulled over in Indiana last week on the route using it to get to New Jersey for something. I'm in Texas. The spider was so big when I tried to kill it, turned around and chased me. It says taste, but maybe that's voice to text. I've been afraid to go outside ever since. It chased you. Ark of the Covenant, weird laser shooting thing. Blue is very biblical and it makes me wonder. Um, Brown recluse flesh necrosis. I spent 14 hours in the ER, could only sit on one butt cheek for a month, and it bit the top of my butt while knocking leaves out of my rain gutter. Shorts too little. Oops. Oh man. That's what you get for doing your chores, huh? That's the things you get. My goodness, girl. That is creepy. I'll have to tell my husband about that. He's the one who does our rain gutters. High rank MS-13, no tattoos, no piercings, clean cut. Agreed at GOP Nick, also agreed at Jazz. Had there. Um, dang it, Nancy. Oh, dang it, Nancy is in the chat. Did I miss dang it, Nancy? Hello, hello. Thanks for greeting her, Kelly. That's great. Um, I see that embrace also that way. Oh, well, thank you, Sunset Salty Sage, because I only just saw that and I didn't know if I was reading into it. Um, so I've watched it again, and that's totally what I see, especially because her hand is like, right? I mean, at first you think she's just hugging her, but it's almost like she's like shoving a pistol in her back or something. I mean, she's just pressed up so hard against her. And I don't think that she was pressing a pistol into her back, but hey, you never know, right? Right in front of the police, right there, sitting behind her. And they're just like, oh God, we can't watch this. This is crazy. I mean, it's making everybody so uncomfortable, except Sammy for some reason. It's just creepy AF. But yeah, you're the first person I've heard say that, Sunset. So, um, let's see. Brown recluse, fresh necrosis, forgot to hit the shift. Ugh. Yeah. Any ruler, thanks for the possible theory as to why it is being done with their approval and likely knowledge of their effect on us. Homeless out of commercial and into residential, we have been greedy homeowners, devaluation as well as spreading out homeless, blue light them to residential. GOP Nick says to Watts, that's actually making me feel uncomfortable and a bit scared thinking about that. That's literally nightmare material. No more booty shots, especially when doing chores. Sorry that happened. Oh, that's so funny. Like the Daisy Dukes. Hi there, MF puppies. Good to see you. Being, let's see, pulled far too closely too. I hope you were not alone when you got bit on the booty bite. Um, I won't email you the pictures then. Do it. Oh, he wants to see. It's too funny. Nancy, LOL. Wow. And oh yeah, GTSY is good to see you, MF puppies. That's what What's the Obsession said. I got educated about that a couple months ago by somebody who said that to me in a chat, and I'm like, huh? What? So good to see you. It's a really nice thing to say, isn't it? Annie, he noticed that the landlords are also benefiting from purposely devaluation of properties using shoddy practices. I think this goes to the depopulation theories, eugenics. Oh, hi, Kelly fam, TGIF. Yes. And it's Friday and it's also Ms. Kylie Rodney's 18th birthday. If only she had made it. She'd be so excited. And if she is being held captive somewhere and did make it, she's probably not the least bit excited. She wouldn't even know it was her birthday, but she's probably gone, right? I mean, it's just so weird that they didn't do any like proper IDing of her in the autopsy, especially since she had a metal plate in her arm from when she broke it. They could have just matched the serial number from her medical records. They didn't get her dental records, they didn't get her medical records. It's just crazy. And then the whole thing with the baby lungs and the tattoo in the wrong place and the we won't talk about the neatly trimmed crap. Ugh. Let's see. Kind of like being a bit scared, GOP Nick says. Well, yeah, a lot of people do. That's why they like horror movies and the who killed who, as my kids call it. Um, let's see, where are we at? Let the drug addicts thin themselves, let the poor renters be thinned, etc. Well, I mean, that apartment building in Johannesburg going up in flames just a couple of weeks after. So Lahaina, the country right outside of Lahaina, I've heard that there was upwards of 3,000 people that lived in these encampments, and a lot of them historically have been Vietnam vets that do that kind of thing over there in Hawaii, just living on the land. Some of that's their PTSD because that's what they were doing in Vietnam. Um, but yeah, if I hadn't had a friend who lived there and told me all about these encampments, I wouldn't know. I would not know. And then when they have these discrepancies of like 9,000 being the population of Lahaina or 13,000 being the population of Lahaina, that makes me think that the 9,000 is people in residences and that the other 4,000 are people that live in what they call the country. That's just what they call it there. And I think some of it's really nice. Like it's not like tent city. It's like people have yurts and huts and probably like tree houses. I don't know. Like it's a whole thing. It's probably like a Sims computer game, like just living on the land that people like do it with style. I hear like that's what the whole thing there was all about. The encampments was living in paradise, living on the land. Oh, let's see. Where are we at? Trying to keep up with you guys is so hard. Thank you for all your wonderful comments and thanks for being here. Where are we at? Oh my goodness, we're at an hour and a half. This is the longest live I've done in forever. I knew it was getting long. Let's see. Where are we at? Please comment here and then I didn't read that, but let's see, that's a different one. The one that's tagged right now for Annie Ruler. I am missing some. I might just have to miss some, but I don't like doing that. Let me try to keep up. I was by myself until my boyfriend at the time came over and informed me of the color of the bite area. Let's just say that. Yikes. That destroyed the Georgia Guidestone so we wouldn't see what they were up to. They destroyed the Georgia Guidestones. Yeah, I don't know a lot about that, Sunset. I've heard some about it. Well, I knew it hurt very, very, very badly, capitalized. I'm 40 and I remember what they said. Also grew up in Georgia and Tennessee. Rabbit, rabbit, like white rabbit. Kylie, Annie Ruler says, let me highlight this one. That's where I thought we were with the last one that I highlighted. That Annie Ruler was tagging Kimberly. Someone else is watching. Yes, Depop, more shots. My produce rots quickly these days. Soon, Mr. Gates will save us with waxy preservative. Gross. Thanks for the good to see you explanation. Absolutely. once I was working in the community in a house looking after folks, and I saw a big spider and ran out of the kitchen and got locked out, and the folk I was looking after had learning issues, so that's wild. And couldn't open the door, so I had to knock on neighbors to ask to use phone to call manager, to use a key to get in, and they might have thought you were trying to kidnap them, like. Isn't that how Patty Hearst got kidnapped? Somebody knocked on the door, said they needed to use the phone. That's how they used to do it back in the old days. We will have nothing and be happy. Way before mobile phones were common. Exactly. I know. Remember trying to meet up with people in public places and waiting for an hour or two and getting lost. And oh man, I don't know how we did it, but we managed. We got through it. Annie Ruler says, GOP Nick, laugh out loud. I have nothing now, and I'm happy with what little I have, and I'm happy I don't have the money to get more. We have exactly what we need, and that is that. Kimberly, you're bringing a quote to mind from Cheryl Crow. It's not about getting what you want, it's about wanting what you have. Right? That's from one of her really great songs. She's a great songwriter. Um, they did that. Want her medical records. Autopsy was so strange. Right. They did not want her medical records. Autopsy was so strange. Well, and that's why I really think there's a possibility that that was absolutely not her. I mean, the weight was way off. The height was off. Come on. I mean, the size of the lungs was absurd. Um, and then the tattoo being off, the uh I don't even remember them talking about the plate in her arm. Did they in the autopsy? You guys probably remember. But yeah, it was really strange. And just, just only having Lindsay's name as next to kin, like you would think her father would be on there, or somebody else. I mean, there was spaces for four different people. Why wouldn't you have the grandparents on there? They're both local. But just having one person where there's space for four, and then that whole thing with the lewd stuff that I was talking about yesterday. I don't even like talking about it because I just don't like going there. But neatly trimmed, like vomit. That was so horrible. And in the live yesterday, somebody did a great job pointing out that not only is that disgusting, but she's a freaking minor. Like it's ultra disgusting. Like that's like pedophilia crap. Oh, that's not a word I should say on YouTube, is it? Pedo crap. Anyway, yeah, it's absolutely gross and horrific. Like you just don't talk about the grooming habits of that area of region of a person's private parts in their autopsies. It's just not freaking done. I'm still trying to catch up with you guys, and we're over an hour and a half, which is fine. It's nice to have a nice long live with my people. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. And yeah, just, being minimalistic is great, downsizing. There we go. Tiny homes. I see what Rando wrote. Where are we at? Um, they did, right. See. Container homes, mini homes, Annie, it was shameful. I was so embarrassed. I want a tiny home. Yeah, I like having open space. I don't think I'd do so well in a tiny home, but I wouldn't mind vacationing in one or having one in my backyard just for like a she shed. Tiny homes have a strange appeal. Well, they're cozy. They're super cozy. And yeah, just to be minimalist and to not have anything that you don't need, sort of like traveling. You only take the bare minimum. That is good to hear. Unsure how large your living area is. They want us downsized. I do not want to lose my condo. Um, oh, when you say they, are you talking about your kids or something? Like who's trying to downsize you? The government? Because aren't you in Mexico? Um, I ran out of my kids' yoga camp filled with squealing 5 to 8-year-olds because a bat was in the spot. Kids were hyperventilating by the time rents picked them up. It was a low point. Fear is real. And bats are not scary, actually. They're super cute. Again, my husband was a bat expert back in Washington State. He was considered one of the country's most renowned bat experts. They are adorable. People are scared of them because they think that they have rabies, but cows have rabies more often than bats. Um, it's the way other adults give you that look. Ever since U.S. history class, I've been interested in a household learning about Eminem domain made me have zero interest in buying property. Um, but a tiny home that could be relocated would be perfect. Yeah, they have them on wheels for sure. I don't know what this Eminem domain is. Is that like the rapper Eminem? Um, we build tiny houses where I work as a behavior therapist. Wow, the kids build them and they are awesome. They can build you one. Seriously, that's what they do. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. And then they sell them, Kelly? That is way cool. I have to look that up. Because yeah, like having a tiny home and then you could buy just a small plot of property an hour from your house and make a little vacation tiny home. That would be cool, just like a little getaway where you could go anytime you just needed to take a break or in your backyard. Let's see, Kimberly Walker. But yeah, see, I'm so like not committing to like a tiny home lifestyle because like I said, I like wide open space. I mean, I really like my space. Um, but yeah, I try not to fill it up with stuff. Sunset, what did the stores do? Written on. And thanks for all the hearts, you guys. Cheryl Crow, Soak Up the Sun. Thanks for the name of the song, Pixie Knickers. I wasn't thinking of it. Um, I'd like info, please. Very cool. My mom spent her career in the developmentally delayed population. Email me, what's the obsession at gmail.com. Any worth the research. I promise you can find it online. 3 or more inches shorter, no water in lungs. Thanks, Annie. Yep. The no water in lungs. I mean, we all talked about that for months. Well, we will know with the autopsy if there's water in her lungs that she drowned, and if there's no water in her lungs that she was deceased before she went in the water. So, whose ever corpse that was, there was no water in the lungs. So if we're going to say that that was her, then we know that she was deceased before she was submerged. Whoever it was deceased before they were submerged. We have around 750 square feet, small apartment, Annie, thrift store furnished. We live on a very small budget, very small, SSDI small. But we are happiest on small budget. Actually, I would love tiny home. I screenshot what, so I got your email. Thanks. I'm serious. They built them for 6 orders last school year. You just have to pay for the materials. I can get you an estimate. Oh, that is exciting. I could be interested in one of them too. Very nice. I am on SSDI, not easy. Um, Watts says, kids, we used to build dens in the woods and guard them holding sticks. Very primordial. You mean like Lord of the Flies, GOP Nick? Getting, sticking with the Kylie Rodney. What really creeps me out is hearing that people, locals, call that event the Kylie Rodney party, you guys. I mean, because it makes me think of the Donner Party. The Kylie Rodney party. Like, have you heard that and thought about that? Like, it's just twisted. Um, anyway, I'm almost caught up with you guys. Scared of bats because I want to keep all of my hair. They won't get caught in your hair. They're scared of you too. um, let's see. In Mexico, but US cash and medical. tiny home just costs material. You're missing the point of the tiny home. I know, I know. Well, yeah, I think the point of it is to stay outside and also to connect more with your community. So you're not just like hiding out in your house. But I've got to be honest, couch potatoing is one of my favorite activities. I rarely ever do it, but when I do it, I just, I grow roots. Couch potatoing is awesome, and I love being a hermit too, so I don't know. I mean, I do like being around people, but I like alone time and just hanging with my family, just being on the down low, on the DL. And spiders, estimate, welcome. Okay, caught up, you guys. Let me look over my notes. There's a bunch of stuff I wanted to make sure that I talked about, and I probably missed some of it. Um, so yeah, with the Kylie Rodney case, just the way all of the people at the ground zero of the search party, like I've literally never noticed anybody searching. Perhaps I've just not seen, but they're just like milling around. They're just kind of like bumbling around. Like it's especially a year later watching those videotapes, it's almost like everybody knew that it was a sham, in my opinion. So I suspect he used the routes to travel from Los Angeles to Maryland, and there was some other case that just happened that I think would be his route back. We made forts. Yeah, forts were the best. We were maniacs. I can't believe the rope swing we made and swung from 3 stories high with no harness or fear. The concept of getting hurt never occurred. Ugh, and thank goodness you didn't get hurt. We hardcore played in the 80s. Yep. I wonder if this is the same guy who his mom called 911 in Los Angeles. She found a woman wrapped in plastic in her son's room. Hey, Mark. I talked about your video again. So let's see. So yeah, I talked about this, but I wanted to draw a parallel with I talked about it at the beginning of the video. Law enforcement in Moscow saying that there was no danger to the rest of the community, that this was a targeted attack. And initially, when people in the Kylie Rodney case were saying that they thought maybe she was abducted, wasn't it weird that Zaname then said that she went and slept in her car in the woods by herself? I mean, if you're thinking that somebody just got abducted from that same area as a single woman, why would you do that with just a tiny dog? I mean, obviously your tiny dog's not going to protect you. Just got in on the replay crew. Yeah, can you believe how long we've been going? An hour and 42 minutes. You have to have an dial title in order to own land or anything on the land completely. The only way to get an allodial, I have no idea how to say that, a title is if you are a church or government. Otherwise, you do not own anything. Where is this? I just learned this. Is this in our country or what country? Because I know like land in Alaska is mostly government owned. I think like 95% of it is government owned and 5% is privately owned. Google the word I'm talking about, the USA. Absolutely, I will. Should I write it down now so I don't have to search for it later? Allodial. Okay. Um, yep, it's rainy in England, right, always. So what else? Okay, you guys, with the Maui, actually, I meant to say Moscow, with the Moscow for um remember when Drip Drop from Crime Circus was talking about Darren Duncan. Remember that Darren Duncan was uh, Kopaka's best friend, and I think it was a Mama D video that I just watched yesterday that was like a month old, that she did a reading on Darren Duncan, and it was fascinating. It was absolutely fascinating. A question that she asked was, and I'll put the link in my description, so if you guys are interested. Um, question that she asked was, where was Darren Duncan on the day that Brent Kopaka was um, shot by the SWAT team? It's a really good question. You know, if your friend is in crisis, you would think that he might have been right there with the SWAT team to try to talk to his friend. Um, so as far as these people that want to speak out about, especially I think people on YouTube that want to speak out about their experience as law enforcement, it's really important for people to know that anybody who represents like a government entity or law enforcement, which is a government entity, that even after you resign or even after you're fired, you still represent that body of government. And it's still really important to uphold the ethics and the standards and the respect. And I'm saying that in particular for people that want to villainize the criminal defendant in the Moscow Four case, because if you were previous law enforcement, if you're retired law enforcement, retired military, it's even more imperative that you respect our judicial system and the presumed innocence until proven guilty in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt. And I'd say, in my opinion, but I think that that is one of my opinions that's a fact. So I just want to say that. Let's see. And Darren with the machete in the lavatory. Well, there's also a photograph. I used it for a thumbnail recently of Dylan with what looks like a machete in her hand. Clue joke. Sorry. Okay, got it. The machete in the lavatory. Thanks for telling me it was a blue joke because I didn't know. That creeps me out. I think he put the blue collar on to be edgy. The dog's blue collar, Buddy's blue collar on his like Instagram or something like that. Really creepy. Hey, Jazz King. We're just about to wrap up. We're getting close to the 2 hour mark, which I think is like the longest live I've ever done is probably about 2 hours. It's really nice just being all leisurely with you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I don't think that was on there originally. I think Darren is trying to get attention. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, Darren Duncan. I'm like scrolling back in the comments like what did I miss? Okay, don't think that was on there originally. I think that Darren's trying to get attention. Right, but he is a big fan of slasher films, and one of the things that Mama D says in her intuitive read is that she believes from her intuitive read of the tarot cards that he was heavily involved and that that's what he did was made filmed it. And you know, what about all those cameras that were set up like outside behind the house? I mean, come on. The body cameras from in front of the house. There's just so much going on with this case that we all just kind of set it aside because it's too confusing. It's too much, in my opinion. Um, I think someone like Nathan G, who is obsessed with stealing dogs, did Buddy. Well, whoever did that needs the police need to investigate it. You don't murder animals. That's disgusting and illegal. And people who do that need to be charged. Um, allegiances, salty sage. Rosie who ran out to get two dogs like Haley's, or Rosie who ran out to get. I'm not familiar with this, Kimberly. Somebody named Rosie went out and got two dogs that looked like Murphy. Oh wow, Kimberly, I didn't realize Rosie got two dogs like Kaylee's. Okay. Me neither. JS got kicked out for slaughter of coyotes and posing them at school buildings, dropping off other dead animals' thirst. I did not know this. I did not know that it was determined that Jack Showalter is the one who was responsible for those things, and then he got kicked out of school, or he got kicked out of the fraternity, or both. Um, and he is mimicking old frat behavior from the 1970s and 80s from frats down south. Oh, see, I'm totally ignorant to all this. Just too convenient for the Idaho Four tragedy, right? When we were supposed to find out what happened to Kylie, too coincidentally convenient. It felt like a deliberate distraction. Wow. And who knows? The truth will come out in the Idaho Four. They always confess. Well, a lot of times they tell on themselves without realizing that they're telling on themselves. Like just yesterday, people were saying in my live that MC and X were in a live the night before together. And I thought, oh, are they telling on themselves that they're connected? Like, thank you. Thank you for the information. Note to self. So you guys texted each other and said, let's go on this live together. I don't know. I don't know. I don't pay much attention to those people. They're not really people, in my opinion. They're scum, absolute scum. Let's see. Um, so yeah, I mean, criminals always tell on themselves, and a lot of times they don't realize they're telling on themselves because they're stupid. If they were not stupid, I mean, if they were smart, they wouldn't be criminals, right? I need hearing of Rosie and the two Labradoodles. Where did you learn that? Do you know where he is? Oh, Rosie, the guy, Rosendale. That's the tall, skinny guy who took the photograph of Kaylee's driver's license at the noise complaint that wasn't a noise complaint, right? Wow. So, yeah, it just all of a sudden clicked, and I remembered that that's who people call Rosie. So, Rosendale got a couple of Labradoodles that look like Kaylee's dog. Like, that's creepy AF. This person will be so impressed they won't be able to keep it to themselves. A whole separate breed of psycho in Idaho Four, in my opinion. Yes, Rosie equals Rosendahl. Thank you for spelling it accurately. There was someone running for mayor of Greenfield that looked like Rosie without a mustache. Oh, goodness. I think Rosie is on an insight mission from his religious organization. It would be 6 months to 18 months intelligence reckon type mission. Rosie Walker, wow, and soon fired, or the internal affairs guy got fired December 7th, looking at evidence inappropriately, like Rosie body cam for bad behavior. Like to know more Idaho red flags. Christchurch much? All right, I'm gonna finish looking at my notes, drink some water, and then get to the wrapping up part because my throat is getting really dry. I need to go do some cough drops. That's what I have to do after a long live, especially this time of year. I've been having allergies, so having to take allergy medication. And so that drives my throat out more. Oh, I'm so glad I looked at my notes again. The lack of evidence, you guys, is evidence. You know this, right? But we all need to be reminded sometimes of the obvious. The lack of evidence is evidence itself. So, again, like in the Moscow, Idaho 4 case, the lack of any of the victims' DNA in the white Hyundai Elantra or in the criminal defendant's apartment, that's evidence right there. That is absolutely a whole pile of evidence that there's not that it's missing. Like, that should be there. If if then. Not necessarily Christchurch. Someone has diabolical interest, and I'm not sure if it's him, but his traveling is sus. Um, Raw local honey jazz will help wonders. Oh, I love honey, but again, it's sugar, so I have to be very careful. Um, Spending 6 months to 18 months each place is sus. Interesting. Um, I'm not sure. Oh, I promise. I'm like, huh? In promise? Guilt, in my opinion, will make a few tell. Hey, Banfield, Hoda London, the boys hide, M jacket, middle kid nudges, and foots secretly into bushes. Man, Annie Ruler, I do not know what you're talking about, but you've got me very interested in what you're talking about. If you'd like to explain yourself, please do. Um, so, oh, here's another one. Let's see. A couple of things that I want to say before I wrap up. And I also love to keep up with you guys. So, the thing with the president, when he went to Maui and said in his speech that he was keeping laser focused on the Maui situation. Laser focused. Like, why in the world did he just happen to use that phrase? And he used it twice. Laser focused. Let's see. I think Maddie stole Fry's jacket at the club. Really? Are you serious? Anything's possible, right? Raw local honey does help with allergies because the bees are pollinating with the things that you're allergic to. Thank you. That's awesome to know. Of course, that makes so much sense. My daughter's allergist told me these things a couple of teaspoons a day. And yeah, as long as I had it with protein, that should balance that out. Um, Bubbly Waters had a video of ops looking at fire hydrant jacket. Cops probably looking at fire hydrant jacket. Cops search pockets, take one item it seems, and left it. Yeah, she's got a lot of interesting videos, doesn't she? That woman has quite the brain in her, and I'm so glad she's got her own channel now because she's just got a lot of information she's pumping out. Look at when the guy they say is Fry walks in the ball cap. Look at his jacket. Is it the same white logo on it? I will look. I will look. The jacket is huge on Maddie, normal size on Fry. Right. And the theory was that the jacket was from Jack D, but yeah, very fascinating, Kimberly. Thank you. That wasn't a cop, Annie. That was two people that photoed themselves behind King Roadhouse looking up at the drone with tongues out. What the fuck would three college kids care about random jacket? I think something in pocket. Wow. Yeah. What was it? Um, so the last thing I want to say before wrapping up, other than thank you guys so much for being here and thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and ring your notification bell if you like to be notified. Make sure you're still subscribed if you were subscribed and want to maintain that. And please share the video like on other platforms. That would be wonderful. Just trying to make sure my channel stays good and healthy when I'm shadow banned. Maybe I'm not shadow banned, but I believe that I am. I know that I have been off and on, and it's kind of easy to tell when I am. And yeah, Banfield. Um, where did you see the video cop car in view? Okay. So the panic of the Moscow Police Department, I spoke about this earlier, but I didn't say this part. The panic of them needing to arrest somebody, having a lot of pressure to find a suspect in the Idaho Four case before the new semester started up. So, in the event that they pulled a case together and found a suspect to pin it on, which is plausible. That happens. If they did that, they cannot let it fall apart. If that case were to fall apart, they'd be in hot water, like beyond losing their jobs, you guys. The hottest water imaginable. So, um, if that's what's going on, I mean, all of these things going on with the documents that keep getting put forth in the court case, it's just crazy, all the back and forth and the hiding of evidence. Like the prosecution can't hide evidence from the defense. Absolutely not. Like that's without question, except maybe in Idaho they can. It depends, I guess, who your judge is. Why would two police spell sup with gravel behind the house so the drone would see and stick their tongues out at it? Wow. Thank you for being you and sharing all your knowledge. Aw, thanks for being you. Dang it, Nancy. Bubbly Waters vid. Yeah, I watch Bubs. Yeah, you guys check Bubbly Waters out. I'll put one of her videos in my description so that you can find her. Because sometimes when channels are newer and smaller, even if you type the name in, you just can't find them. So you really have to get a link. I suspect one of the two was one of the people I found named Charlie. Okay. And then remember there was Chucky in the Tahoe in the Truckee case, right? Chucky. Interesting. He is now in Georgia. That just jumped. If the article I found is true, he wrote an editorial article in an online paper in Georgia. So somebody yesterday was asking me what can be done to end corruption, and I think writing letters to the editor is one really good way of broadcasting your opinion when you think you see something. You know, if you see something, say something. Those boys knew that jacket was out of place. Why bother? There was a jacket, was a flag, that job was done. Oh, Annie Ruler, thanks for the info. See, and I wonder about the brain on the dumpster. Was that a flag that it was done? Was that a flag that it needed to get done? Was that just a brain on a dumpster outside of the frat house that night? Like that's freaking creepy AF. I think something in the pocket. I think Maddie and Kaylee took that jacket because they wanted to prove something. Oh, it's Chucky, my fault, Dana. Huh. Okay, let's see where we at. I wonder if the Charlies and Chuckies are the same. You know, I've wondered that, and I don't have any reason to believe that they are. It is a very unusual name, and the Chucky in Truckee, I believe, is a trans guy, and then the Charlie, which is spelt differently in the Idaho Four case, um, looks female, but looks very androgynous to me. So, um, yeah, I had wondered about that too. And Kimberly says that they think they are. I think they are. Zombie trap, right? Exactly, Rando. Ending corruption. Oh, come on, entertain the thought just for a moment. I mean, you got to do what you can, right? And that's what I said is that, I don't believe it's going to end, but, you got to take care of, um, on a small scale, do what you can, right? You got to fight evil. There's always going to be evil in the world, but you always have to fight it too. Um, I think someone left jacket to someone could grab out of pocket. Anyone compare photos? I wonder. Yes, I have, Rando. I've compared the photos. Um, Kimberly Walker, as well as a crew, sent message back. The Banfield boy kept looking to King Road one wearing night goggles or dark sunglasses. Pick um, totally lost with that word. SAEED. Pick seed. Oh, is that supposed to be like Pixie Knickers? Is this a voice to text? Pixie Knickers has one of white mask, has guy wearing same. I don't know. I don't know if that's what you're trying to say there. Remember, there's been lots of talk about USBs, the Charlie I found that ran to Georgia LGBTQIA plus. Interesting. Mitty Banfield kid had one glove, black glove, not two. She is saying Saeed, Middle Eastern name. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks. Okay, so it wasn't Pixie Knickers. It was a pick. Saeed has of white mask, has guy wearing same. So yeah, you guys in the Idaho Four, the pictures that people posted of themselves wearing ski masks, the payments that were made from people involved closely related to that case, payments that were made to the higher ups in the sorority, the memos that were made in those Venmo payments, like 3:30 a.m. And then the post that Dylan put up, the photograph or photographs of her and Kaylee from the sorority party that she had invited her to as her plus one, and those pictures were posted at 3:30 a.m. apparently, allegedly, right? um I think Chucky from Kylie's Charlie from behind King Road taking drone pictures and then ran to Georgia. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Um, all right, you guys, I'm going to wrap her up. And thanks again for being here. I really appreciate you more than I can describe. Have a great rest of your Friday. Make sure you drink your water, eat your protein, eat your fruits and vegetables. I'm going to try to remember to do my salad for breakfast, at least for the next 6 weeks, and then some as I try to prepare for my yoga training. So yeah, it's a teacher certification program that I've wanted to do for many, many, many years. So I'm finally doing it. But at this point in my life, I'm not really wanting to teach. I'm just wanting to, have a much better practice for my own health. So teaching may happen, may not. Who knows? I'm just happy to do the training, and yeah, you just want to get the most out of it. The tattoos would be a dead giveaway, right? Exactly. Yeah, because the one in Truckee has the tattoos on the neck. And then the one not in Truckee, I haven't been able to see the neck. Um, Iden gives me bad vibes. We'll ask the name Jack does. Yeah. Um, Iden. Um, let's see. Have a great day. Thank you, you guys. Thank you so much. Einen is sus. He giggles and wiggles when interviews, says the word stab. That's crazy. I haven't noticed that. So yeah, you guys have a great weekend and take really good care of yourself. Be super kind to everyone around you, even the jerks. Sometimes the people that are the worst, killing them with kindness is, I think, an awesome way to go because it shocks them and they don't know what to think. So, um, yeah, go back to his first interview. They say stab and gash, and he wiggles and smirks a lot. Oh, I'll have to watch that. Yikes. Who did the painting on your window? Very nice. It's actually a uh it's like a sheet kind of thing. So it's kind of like a curtain. And yeah, it's jellyfish. It's jellyfish, but I have it sideways. And now with the sun coming through so bright, you really can't see it at all. Who did the painting on your video? Oh, the painting on my video. I thought I was thinking window. That's a Georgia O'Keeffe, a very obscure Georgia O'Keeffe. Isn't it amazing? I love that, the colors. Like, she's always been one of my favorite artists. So, um, yeah, thanks for asking. Let's see. Um, Syed Bushy Eyebrow Guy, cops called in the 911 call for the Banfield kids. Alibi anyone. Ski mask solo guy. Sure looks like Hunter J. Bubbly Waters has software. Have a nice day. Off to make some mince and dumplings. Have a nice day, everyone. And he is lurking, we think, as Papa Roger. Yes. On that note, I'm going to say peace out, sending you light, sending you love. Be well. Hopefully, I'll be able to do something over the weekend, but if not, I'm going to be trying to get my routine Monday through Friday at the very least. Thanks again, you guys. Have a great weekend.